Hi friends! So quick video on how to use the artistic filter in Clip Studio Paint. So what I have here is I have this 3D model I took from the website Sketchfab, and a lot of times backgrounds are really hard to do. I love using references, and when you start making comics you might want things at a certain angle that are really hard to get in a photo reference, or maybe a certain kind of thing and there's just not a lot of options. It's hard to find. So in this case, I found this model. I got just the angle I wanted. So I'm going to kind of modify this and show you what we can do. So first of all, I'm going to select it all and I'm going to copy and I'm going to paste it into my quote-unquote comic page here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to position it, resize it to fit however I like best. Okay, here we go. So technically, I can just use this as is for my reference. I can use this, I can turn the opacity down, I can make a new layer, I can go in and maybe start, using this as a base to kind of start tracing, using this as, a good starting point for a drawing. And that's totally fine, and I actually do that quite a bit. Sometimes, though, I like to mess around with this artistic tool, so let me show you how it works. So you're going to go to Filter, you're going to go to Effect, you're going to go to Artistic, and you can see that just like that, it's kind of transformed this this little picture into a line art. And you can mess around with all these settings. Line thickness is going to change how thick the lines are. And you're going to have to play around with this each and every time you get a reference little drawing here. It's never going to be the same. It never works the same for me every time. It's really going to depend on the image you're using. We can mess around with some line simplicity. You can see the more simplistic the lines, the kind of more abstract some parts start to get. So you can mess around with that. Line density, that's going to kind of include details or not. So if I turn the density way up, I have a very textured, tattered, patterned kind of piece. And if I turn it down, it kind of gets rid of some of that, kind of tries to simplify it as best it can. So we can mess with opacity, we can mess with the anti-aliasing, so we can make it really fuzzy, make it really sharp. So that's really fun and cool, and that's definitely a really great starting point for a background image. We have 3 options though, so we can do just lines, we can do color and lines, and we can do color only. So let's do color and lines. So awesome. So you can see right away, now I can start messing with these kind of options for number of colors and things like that. So if I turn number of colors up, the more colors I have, the more it starts to be more realistic based on the reference. If I turn the number of colors down, it starts to try to simplify what's there. This is also a really good way to make something look really cartoony. We can kind of have a line thickness, like an outline to this, and then kind of mess around with it until we get something that we like. Color blur might make it a little bit more fuzzy, as well as the blending. And we can see this better if we hop over to colors only. Yeah, this is a really good way to see it. So now we can really have a more just very simplistic, simplified version of this house. And maybe you want to use this as a far distant background element, or just use this as a starting off point to start modifying this. It's really fun and easy to do. So I'm going to show you one more. So yeah, let's just do a before and after. So you can see how it's kind of really stylized this. So I always wanted to show you a version using a building. So this is a good example of like, hey, I want this angle of a building like this, and it's really hard to find a reference. All the pictures I find of buildings are just straight on views. So let's mess with this. Edit, copy, and we're going to paste this in our canvas. And I'm going to resize it just like before. So I'm imagining like this is a comic page and I have a panel I want it to fit in. I would just kind of adjust it the way I like. And let's see. So let's do this again. Let's do filter, effect, artistic, and let's do lines only this time. So you can see how this could be really helpful in terms of doing a jumping off point for a background. Definitely mess around with it, and you're gonna have to experiment and play with it yourselves. I just thought it was really important that you guys knew that you were able to do this because it's really fun to play with. So you obviously don't have to do just buildings. You can do whatever assets you want. I would definitely use this for like cars or anything complicated, just as a really good jumping off point. So Well, I hope you found this helpful, and good luck.